Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to talk about missing episodes. And today's hypothetical situation is, you're walking along, you bump into a lamp. You go to shine the lamp, you rub it, a genie pops out. This genie is like a big Doctor Who fan genie. But its powers are limited, and the genie says, I will let you bring back one missing story from each Doctor of the 60s. So you can bring back one missing story from the first Doctor, one missing story from the second Doctor. Which ones would you pick and why? Now, one little caveat, because it's too easy. Let's take Dalek's Master Plan off the table, because everybody's just going to pick Dalek's Master Plan, and that takes all the fun out of it. So for some reason, the genie's like, I'm so sick and tired of hearing about Dalek's Master Plan. Or maybe they just didn't like Dalek's Master Plan. So let's take Dalek's Master Plan off. So any other story from the first Doctor and any story from the second Doctor, which one would you bring back? For the first Doctor, I think I would go with Marco Polo. One, it's 7 episodes we'd be getting back. 2, with the missing episodes of Reign of Terror having been animated, that would complete Season 1. Season 1 would be complete, including the animated episodes for Reign of Terror. And plus, just I've listened to the reconstruction of Marco Polo, the 30-minute cut-down version of it, and I liked it. Seems like a good story. Seems like when you see the behind-the-scenes photos, it looks like it's a really good story, had some good production values, and something I think I'd like to see. And it's 7 parts. So I would probably bring back Marco Polo. That would be my choice for that. I love the idea of completing Season 1. Now, if I wanted to keep it interesting, say there's another caveat where you couldn't do Marco Polo because it's kind of an easy pick. Say it had to be a story 6 episodes or less. I would probably say the Myth Makers. If for some reason Marco Polo was off the table, I think I would say the Myth Makers. I like the Myth Makers. I've read the Target novelization and enjoyed it. I like Vicky. It's Vicky's final story. I'd like to have that. I'm a big fan of Vicky. It takes place during the Trojan War. I like the Trojan War. I like history, especially like historic battles. I love stuff like that. And I think it's a story I would enjoy to see on screen. I'm curious to see how it was realized, especially since we don't have a lot of telesnaps of it, since the guy who produced Doctor Who for part of Season 3, the guy who took over after Verity left and ran it for like 5 or 6 stories, forget his name, he didn't really employ John for his telesnap program. So a lot of that guy's stories don't have telesnaps, you know, the Massacre, stuff like that, Dalek's Master Plan, stuff like that. And so not having telesnaps of the Myth Makers to go by, I'd really like having that story back because I'm very curious how they executed it, what it looked like. And it's just one I'd be interested in seeing. So if I couldn't have Marco Polo, I would go with Myth Makers. Now for Troughton, it gets harder. I've narrowed it down to 3. I think I would pick Fury, but the 3 main contenders for me would be Power of the Daleks, Fury from the Deep, and Evil of the Daleks. Power, of course, because I love Power of the Daleks. I love Power of the Daleks. It's my second favorite Dalek story. There's the historical significance of it being Troughton's first story, especially that first episode with him having newly regenerated and seeing the initial scene of that. Plus, it's just a really good story. I love how David Whittaker writes the Daleks, so I think it would be good to have for all those reasons. Evil is the same way. Again, David Whittaker knows how to write the Daleks. I really love Evil of the Daleks. The existing episode 2 for it is phenomenally good. Phenomenally good. Troughton is just on fire. Excuse me. In that story, so I would love the opportunity to see all 7 episodes of Evil of the Daleks. I'm sure I would enjoy it. They're both Dalek episodes, so you know that would be a big find. I'm going to say Fury from the Deep, though. Partially because the animation's not good. Partially because the surviving footage makes that story look good. And I love the story itself. The concept and the story is phenomenal. I tend to love when Doctor Who does horror and suspense, and it does that well. I love the incidental music. The audio track for the surviving audio track for Fury is phenomenal. I love the music. I love the sound effects. I love the characters' dialogue. It's a really well done story, and when you look at the surviving footage, it looks really creepy, really scary. I think being in black and white really lends itself to this story, and I would just love to see what the original version of Fury from the Deep looked like. I'm just so curious about what that was like. So as much as I would love to have either of the Dalek stories, I think I'd go with Fury from the Deep. I think that would be a big deal, a big find. And I think it would rank probably as one of Troughton's best. The animation just lets it down. So that would be my pick, I think, for Troughton would be Fury from the Deep. I just think it would be 6 episodes of some pretty awesome goodness. Some nice horror. Doctor Who doing horror before that kind of became its thing for a little bit during Tom Baker's early run, and I would really enjoy that. So I want to know which ones you would pick and why, and what you think of my choices. A comment down below and let me know. Other things to do, click the like button and the subscribe button. That helps me out, and I certainly appreciate it. I also have a Patreon. That helps me pay the bills, and I certainly appreciate it. So if you take a moment to check that out, there's a link to that down in the description below. I want to give a shout out to Colin Coney and Stephen Crane, 2 of my top tier patrons. I appreciate their continued support. As I do the support of all of my patrons, I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you would like to send me to look at, as well as a link to my Amazon wish list and a link to my Amazon UK wish list as well, if you want to check those out. Most importantly though, thank you for watching.